Arthur Davies was a titan of industry, a man whose net worth was measured in the hundreds of millions. He had built his empire on relentless ambition and brilliant strategy. Yet, for all his success, Arthur lived under a constant, crushing fear. He was haunted by the biblical verse, "It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God." He believed his wealth was a spiritual anchor, dragging him straight to eternal condemnation. Consumed by his fear, Arthur began to try and purchase his salvation. He made massive public donations to churches and foundations. He gave away millions, yet found no peace. His heart remained as hard as the marble in his penthouse office. The more he gave away from his abundance, the louder the condemnation echoed in his mind. He realized that the donations were only feeding his pride, not his soul. His fortune was not a blessing, but a wall between himself and God. One afternoon, gazing down from his 40th floor office, Arthur noticed a small, neglected community garden below. An elderly man, old Henry, was carefully tending to a few struggling rose bushes. Driven by desperation, Arthur went downstairs, checkbook in hand. He approached Henry and offered him a check for $50,000 to fix up the place and ease his conscience. Henry smiled, shook his head, and gently pushed the check away. Henry said, "Sir, we don't need your money. We need your heart. We need your time. If you want to help, come back tomorrow and spend a week working with me." Arthur, who had never done a day of manual labor in his life, was stunned. If you like stories that make you reflect on life's choices and overcoming adversity, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next ones. Arthur reluctantly agreed. For the next week, the titan of industry traded his suit for work gloves. He pulled weeds, turned soil, and carried heavy bags of mulch. His body ached, but his spirit began to feel lighter than it had in years. One evening, Henry looked at Arthur's sweaty brow and said, "The eye of the needle, son, isn't a wall we pass through with money. It's the narrow way of humility. It's the giving of yourself, your time, your effort, your heart. Only the spirit can pass through that narrow gate, not the ego." Arthur finally understood. The camel wasn't his money, it was his pride. Arthur returned to his office, a changed man. He continued his work, but his focus had shifted entirely. He started a foundation where company employees were required to volunteer their time in community projects, not just donate funds. He used his wealth to create opportunities for others, but found his greatest joy and his spiritual peace in the simple, tireless act of selfless service. He learned that the true kingdom is built in the humility of the heart, not the size of the bank account. The world tells us that power lies in what we own, but faith teaches us that true power lies in what we give of ourselves. May the story of Arthur remind us that the narrow gate to grace is always guarded by humility. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and come be a part of our community of faith and resilience.